Once upon a time, lived a very rich man, who was so arrogant and greedy. He owned fields, farms, and meadows. He had hundreds of workers, depending on him for a living. He was so arrogant, that he felt disgusted with his workers, because of their dirty clothes, and would allow them to come near him. One evening, a group of peasants, who worked for him, sat chatting after completing their works. One of them said, "I saw him close up yesterday. I was working, and he rode by." Just then another one proudly said, "Well, the other day, I carried a sack of vegetables up to his house, and I saw him standing at his window." The third one laughed hard, and said, "So? What is so great about that? Anyone can look at him on his horse, or at his window. If I want, I can sit down with for a meal, in his house." "Ha!" scoffed the others. "Sit down with you for a meal? And that too in his house? That can never happen. The minute he sees you, he will order his guards to throw you out," said the other peasants, laughing at him. The third peasants insisted that he wasn't bluffing, and he could dine with rich man if he desires. The others challenged him, "If you do this, then we will give you 3 sacks of wheat and bullock each. But if you cannot, you will do anything we want, for a whole year." They all agreed. The following day, soon before the rich man lunchtime, the peasant walked into the rich man's mansion. As soon as the guards saw him, they rushed to throw him out. "Wait, wait. I have some good news for the master," begged the peasant. The guards replied, "Tell us. We will let him know." The peasant refused. "No, I can't tell you. It's for the master's ears alone." The guards went back to him, and told him about the peasant. The rich man thought to himself, "He hadn't come for anything, but to give me a good news. Maybe it will be something vital." He allowed the peasant in, and asked him from distance, "What is this good news you have for me?" The peasant smirked, and said, "What I have to say is for your ears alone, my lord." The rich man frowned, but he was curious, so he sent his guards away. And then, the peasant leaned forward, and whispered, "My lord, what will be the price of a piece of gold, as large as a horse head?" The man wondered, "Why would you ask me about gold?" The peasant looked over his shoulder, to make sure they were absolutely alone, and he whispered, "I have my reasons." This made the rich man even more curious. Why would such a poor man, dressed in rags, smelling of mud, want to know the price of gold? Maybe he dug up some buried treasure. So he asked nicely, "Tell me, why do you want to know the price of a gold?" Then the peasant immediately put on a long face, and sighed, "If you don't wish to tell me, I shall take my leave, because my lunch is waiting for me at home." The rich man's eyes glittered with greed. He didn't want to lose the chance of getting more money. So he asked nicely, "Why must you hurry home for lunch? I am about to have my lunch. Why don't you join me?" He ordered his servants to prepare the table. He looked after the peasant as his honored guests, and said, "Eat and drink to your fill, my friend." After the lunch was finished, the rich man asked the peasant, "Run and bring me that piece of gold, that equals the size of a horse head. I will know what to do with it. I will give you a loaf of bread, in exchange for it." The peasant stood up, and said, "No, my lord, I can't bring it." "Why not?" asked the rich man. "Because I don't have it," replied the peasant. The rich man got angry. "Why do you want to know the price, if you don't have it?" The peasant smiled and replied, "Oh, I was just curious, and that was it." The rich man flew into rage, and shouted bitterly, "Get out of my house, you fool! Before leaving, the peasant replied, "I am not a fool, I just had an excellent meal, and also 3 sacks of wheat, and a bullock. I wouldn't have had it if I were a fool."